Have you ever just stopped and thought about how many different kinds of animals there are on this planet? We're talking millions of species, from the tiniest insect to the biggest whale. So how in the world do scientists keep it all straight? Well, let's dive into that giant puzzle and see how they bring a little bit of order to the beautiful chaos of the animal kingdom.
Just take a look at these two. On one side, you've got a clownfish just doing its thing in a sea anemone, and on the other, a red panda chilling on a snowy branch. I mean, talk about polar opposites, right? They live in completely different worlds, eat different things. They seem to have absolutely nothing in common.
So that really is the big question, isn't it? What could these two possibly have in common? Finding the answer to that is really the first step in a fantastic detective story, the story of how we classify all life on Earth.
To crack this case, scientists need to find one big clue, a shared feature that lets them make the first major sort. And for our clownfish and red panda, that clue is, quite literally, the backbone of the whole system. And here it is. They are both vertebrates. Now, a vertebrate is just a fancy word for any animal that has a spine, a backbone. And just that one single feature is huge. It allows us to put them in the same massive group, and it separates them from tons of other creatures, like jellyfish, spiders, or worms.
Okay, so once we know an animal is a vertebrate, we can zoom in a little closer. All vertebrates get sorted into one of these 5 major families. You've got mammals, birds, fish, reptiles, and amphibians. And you guessed it, our red panda and our clownfish each belong to one of these groups.
So let's build our own little field guide right now. We're going to go through the specific clues that define each of these 5 big families. Think of it like a checklist you can use to figure out who's who in the animal world.
First up, the mammals. Okay, 3 big clues here. 1, they're warm-blooded or endothermic, which just means they make their own body heat. They're like their own little furnaces. 2, they all have fur or hair at some point in their life. And 3, they almost always give birth to live babies.
And bingo! A red panda fits the bill perfectly. It's warm-blooded and it's covered in that amazing, thick fur. So, case number 1 is solved. The red panda is a mammal. Easy enough.
Next, let's check out the birds. Now, like mammals, they are also warm-blooded. But that's kinda where the similarities end. The big giveaways for birds are all their own. They're the only animals on the planet with feathers. They have scales on their legs and they lay hard-shelled eggs.
And yep, this little finch is a textbook example. You see those feathers? That's the dead giveaway. It puts it squarely in the bird category. No doubt about it.
All right, let's switch gears a bit. Meet the reptiles. Now, unlike our first 2 groups, reptiles are cold-blooded or ectothermic. That means they have to rely on the world around them for heat, like basking on a sunny rock. They also have dry, scaly skin and lay leathery eggs on land.
I mean, just look at this chameleon, for example. If you could get close, you'd see that skin is dry and covered in scales. That's a classic reptile feature. It's your number 1 clue right there.
Okay, we're getting super close to solving our original mystery. Let's talk about fish. Just like reptiles, they're cold-blooded. But the key things to look for are that they live their whole lives in the water, they use gills to breathe, and they're usually covered in scales.
And there it is, our clownfish. It lives in the water, it's covered in scales, and it's cold-blooded. Mystery number 2 is officially solved. It's a fish, no question.
And our final group, last but definitely not least, the amphibians. They're also cold-blooded, and they start their lives in water, laying these soft, jelly-like eggs. But here's what's so cool about them. Many of them go through this incredible change called metamorphosis to become adults. You know, the frog is the poster child for metamorphosis. It starts as one of those little jelly eggs, hatches into a tadpole with gills that swims around, and then it completely transforms into the hopping, air-breathing frog we all know. It's like 2 different animals in one lifetime.
So we've got our 5 neat little boxes, right? Mammals, birds, fish, reptiles, amphibians. Everything seems to have its place. But you know, nature absolutely loves a good plot twist. There are always a few rebels that just love to break the rules.
So let's put our new knowledge to the test. If you see an animal with fur, it has to be a mammal. End of story, right? Well, it's a fantastic clue for sure, but in biology, it's almost never that simple. Okay, get ready to meet some of nature's best rule breakers, the platypus and the echidna. They've got fur, they're warm-blooded, but they lay eggs. So what are they? Well, they're mammals. They're amazing exceptions that show us why scientists have to look at all the clues together, not just one. And here's another fantastic curveball. The bat. It has wings, it flies, it must be a bird, right? Nope. Take a closer look. Does it have feathers? No, it has fur. And does it lay eggs? No, it gives birth to live babies. It checks all the mammal boxes, proving that looks can be very deceiving.
So, with all these rules and all these exceptions, how do scientists handle it all? How do they cut through the confusion? Well, they use a surprisingly simple but really powerful tool. Let's see how you can use it too.
It's called a classification key. And I know, it sounds super technical, but think of it like a choose-your-own-adventure book for identifying animals. It's just a series of simple yes or no questions that guide you step by step straight to the right answer. Here's how it works, and it's actually really simple. You start with a big, broad question like, does it have hair? If your answer is yes, you follow that path to the next question. If it's no, you go down the other path. You just keep answering these simple questions, and each answer gets you closer and closer until there's only one possibility left. It's an awesome process of elimination.
See, in the end, classification isn't just about memorizing facts and lists. It's a way of thinking. It's about being a detective, asking questions, and looking closely at the world around you. So now you've got the basic toolkit. The next time you see an animal you don't recognize, what's the first clue you're going to look for? What mysteries will you solve?